Bai is an ugly, disgusting orphan, just like any other anime protagonist, who is raised by an ugly old geezer and some poor lonely villagers. But one day, a man came from the sky named Lee, who takes him to the world of the immortal. The story begins with a game of plot development. Chess, between two immortals. Lee discusses how his intervals of relaxation are regularly short. He couldn't complete his plot developing session because of that, and his most recent headache is related to how he owes someone gratitude. He had once promised to accept the descendant of an old geezer as a pupil if communication was ever conveyed via black incense. However, over the past 3 years, every time the incense has been burned, it has quickly gone out, forcing him to go on for hunt. Just then, the incense is ignited for the 13th time in 3 years, and Lee is eager to find out who the heck is messing with him. On Earth, we see that our main character Bai is the one who is messing with him and constantly lighting the incense. He urges himself to remain calm so that this time, instead of escaping, he may complete the message to the Eternal. Bai escapes from lightning strikes while the ritual continues, and ugly locals from Bai's village pray to the immortal. However, the village chief requests that they be gentler with Bai because it's his first time, as they all seen his little jingle bell grow up.
What do you mean by that?
As they all seen him grow up. Back on the mountain, Bai is about to give up, but a voice from above scolds him for playing with the black incense. Lee eventually appears, and Bai says, "Uncle Lee, I've been waiting for you for 3 years, 2 months, 13 days, and 20 hours. Lee wants to know, how the do you know the time? There is no watch in this anime. But Lee changes his question and asks, if he is so scared, then why he has tried to call him more than 10 times while running away each time. Bai reveals that his parents died when he was young, just like any other anime character's parents, and the ugly fat villagers all became his second parents. Everyone knew that burning the incense would summon the immortal, who would accept Bai as his student. So every time he burned the incense, the villagers begged him to stay. And he did. Lee is amazed by Bai's loyalty at such a young age. Bai claims that he is now ready to begin training to become immortal in order to live forever. Lee offers to take him, but Bai says that he wants to say goodbye to the village head first, whose ugly face he will not be going to see from now on. Bai claims that the head is the one who can't take the thought of losing him the most, but a look around the village reveals that he thanks the gods that Bai is leaving. The villagers also celebrate that the chicken thief is going away, but their joy is short-lived since Bai promises to return one day, and they all start hiding their chickens. Lee then takes Bai to Immortal Sector for training. However, when Bai is left behind, he meets a big fat ugly guy with no good looks named Zhang, who informs him that he is the new member of Fire Kitchen. Bai was about to ask what the heck is Fire Kitchen, but their conversation is cut short because of a guy named Bao, who is angry that the Fire Kitchen has welcomed someone as weak as Bai in such a shady manner. Bao reveals that he has seriously missed meals and other expenses over the past 7 years in order to purchase spirit stones that he believes would help him get entry into the Fire Kitchen. He is certain that Bai stole his place and makes an attempt to harm Bai. Zing saves Bai just in time and scolds Bao for acting inappropriately for a second-level cultivator. Zing tells him not to fight anymore, but Bao declares Bai as his sworn enemy. He issues a challenge to Bai, explaining that when the time comes, one of them must die. Bao flees, and Fat Zing assures Bai that he will be alright, as long as he does not attempt to confront Bao. Following that, Zing informed Bai that the Fire Kitchen prepares meals for the elders, and all of the ingredients are of great quality, providing spiritual force for training. Bai is the 9th member of Fire Kitchen, and he is being led to his divine instrument selection ceremony. He thinks he will be given a sword that will penetrate all his enemies, but is surprised to discover that there are just wuks. Bai is concerned because he does not believe he can carry one, as they are bigger than the belly of Zhang, but Zhang points out that the wok will show that he is a member of the Fire Kitchen, and others will avoid bullying him. After some time, Bai chooses a wok to call his own, while everyone laughs at how it resembles a turtle shell. Zhang then goes on to explain that there are 10 essential consideration levels. The more methods you can master, the higher your level. After reaching all 10 important consideration levels, a person can cultivate the Foundation Establishment realm. Students can only gain level 3 crucial consideration in this sector, where the Fire Kitchen is located, and will need to go to the outer sector to attain higher levels. He does, however, explain that the entire procedure would take a long time, and Bai recognizes that he will have to work hard to defend himself. Bai is struggling with his training that night when he hears a weird noise and wonders whether Bao has arrived. He looks inside the kitchen. However, we see that the other members are eating. Also, we notice that Bao is outside. He declares that Bai will not be able to remain hidden in the fire kitchen forever, and he swears he will kill him when he comes out. Back inside, Bai says that he is no longer able to eat, and vows not to tell anybody that they all consume spiritual food. It is explained to him that because he is new, it is critical for Bai to rely on food to clear pollutants from his body. They also teach him how to eat the food properly. Their friendship increases as they consume more spiritual food, and Bai is surprised to discover that his body is on fire. The next morning, Bai is amazed to notice that his body no longer aches when he exercises, and he can feel ki flowing throughout his body. He is more motivated than ever to practice, and after some time, he is happy to discover that he has control over his spiritual strength. Bai grows hungry and cooks a grain of spiritual rice in his wok, which surprises him. Later, the others express their concern over not seeing Bai in a long time, but he explains that he has just gotten really serious about his training. Zhang is amazed by Bai's rapid progress to the first crucial consideration level, which he credits to the shining rice he consumes. Everyone chuckles since there is no such thing as shining rice, and products like that are only available if they are refined. They go on to say that while the capacity to refine is far from where Bai is in his training, he will most certainly conduct some sort of refining at some time. Furthermore, there are 3 forms of refining: weapon refining to make them stronger, elixir refining to improve their formulas, and spiritual refining. Spiritual refining is incredibly rare, and few people have any possibility of achieving it. It requires the forceful pouring of the world's live key into a thing. Every successful refinement leaves a unique engraving, and the resulting power doubles with each successful refinement. Bai wonders that night whether his grain of rice is spirit refined, and if his wok is a divine instrument capable of spirit refining. He determines that he must test it, and will keep it hidden from everyone. Outside, Bao waits for Bai to take a step outdoors. Bai knows that Bao is only at the 2nd level of key consideration, and decides to practice even harder so that he would no longer need to hide like a little pussy. Bai is surprised by something later and recalls how he just finished spirit refining his wooden sword twice. However, his wok began to glow as a result, and something seemed to be drawn out of him. Bai is then shocked when he loses a strand of hair, which leads him to believe that he must be losing a portion of his lifespan while refining. Bai has been exceedingly careful his entire life to ensure that he lives as long as possible, but now he rejects his wok for destroying all of his hard work. He then discovers, to his surprise, that he can absorb and summon his wok at will. Bai begins to blame Bao for how hard he has been training when he is called out by Zhang. The hard training led him to spirit refine, and as a result, he lost some of his life. Bai becomes outraged and calls out Bao, declaring that he is ready to fight him right now. However, it is explained that Bao has gone missing and has most likely given up. But Bai is annoyed because he wasted his life. Another member overhears him and informs him that completing a newly accessible mission will provide a person a year's lifespan extension. Bai then goes to town to get supplies for the mission, but he doesn't have enough money.
You're broke!
There, he meets Bao, who points out that no one is there to help him this time, but Bai admits that he was prepared to fight anyway. However, when 2 more guys join Bao, Bai changes his mind because Bai knows one-on-one is better than a gangbang. Bao instantly chases him, and we notice that the other members of the fire kitchen are looking for Bai. One of the guys who followed Bao says that they are from the supervision department, whatever the heck that is, and they are there to monitor the battle between Bai and Bao. Zhang, on the other hand, is not worried and says that he can simply take him out. Bao provokes a battle with Bai nearby, and Bai eventually defends himself with his refined sword. On the other side, Zhang fights the supervisor. As level 3 key consideration cultivators, they are on the same power level, and their fight reflects that. They both can sense that someone is likely to die as their fight comes to an end. Zhang fears the worst since he believes Bai has been defeated by Bao, and the supervisor informs him that his fire kitchen workers need to enhance their abilities. However, everyone is surprised to learn that Bai really won the battle. Bai bursts into wrath, blaming Bao for his loss of lifespan. With Bao beaten, the spell set on Bai is lifted, and Bai vows to extract red juice, not the white one, if he fails to extend his lifetime. The supervisor is surprised to discover that an amateur ugly lonely loser of a student has overcome the strong Bao, but Bao explains that Bai has actually attained level 3 key consideration, and he is now able to your mom. Following that, it is announced to everyone that an advancement trial will be held for everyone who wishes to participate. It is the only way to move to the outer sector, and competition will be severe because only the top 3 candidates will be accepted. Zhang reveals that their Fire Kitchen group never attends the event, but Bai believes it's time to change that. Sometime later, villagers comment on how unusual it is that the Fire Kitchen is so calm. At the competition, a group of people debate how they would compete for the top rank and are surprised by the arrival of the Ohio family. First, a girl emerges with a face like a monkey. Then another girl emerges with pink hair. Everyone flees as the strange girl starts introducing herself. They are more interested in the fact that the Fire Kitchen has agreed to take part in the trial. Bai arrives, and he is surprised by the large crowd. He explains to Zhang that they must stick to their strategy no matter what, and he agrees to do so. Then we learn the plan of the Fire Kitchen. The members of Fire Kitchen wish to take all 3 spots on their own, but they realize that they will need a solid strategy to accomplish it. Everyone is surprised when Bai reveals his plan to just wait, because the highly competitive trial guarantees that the first battles will be serious. Bai wants them to sit back and watch while everyone exhausts themselves and they save their power. The group had been preparing for the competition for months, but they were surprised to discover that it was more challenging than they imagined. The other members of the team protect Bai so that Bai can take the lead. The higher they climb, the more restricted their movement becomes, but other participants are surprised to see Bai running without any difficulties. Chen, the supervisor, meets the other members of the Fire Kitchen as they make their way up the mountain. Chen finds it odd that the Fire Kitchen has always been the most profitable sector, with no reason to participate in the trials, and wonders what has changed this time. However, Chen's attempt to keep up with the gang fails, and he is left behind to make meaningless threats. Meanwhile, Bai arrives at the risky region and recalls some information Zhang provided to him. He disclosed that the trial's last obstacle would be 5 wooden pillars constructed in the mud. The passageway will be opened by controlling the floating rocks in a specific order, and the floating rocks just looks like the rocks from Pandora. Zhang explained that the trial isn't that tough, and if he falls, he won't die, but Bai isn't convinced. He starts organizing the pieces of land but is terrified the entire time. Bai reaches a point when just one piece has to be moved, and he just about makes the jump, but because of the wind, he almost falls. A bird helps him for a moment, but it leaves and Bai screams like a little as he falls to his death. However, he wakes up seconds later to find that he is still alive and finally completed the trial. The other members arrived shortly after and are told that once the 3 of them pass a gate, they will officially become Outer Sector disciples, finally beginning their path to immortality. 2 other participants arrived, disappointed to see that they are too late, but Bai shocks everyone when he states that his group isn't quite ready yet. Bai speaks out loud as he explains how sad he is to be leaving his brothers in the Fire Kitchen. He dislikes having to go, but explains that he must since they have given so much to reach the conclusion of the trial. Bai wants to be even more dramatic, claiming that his brother has gone skinny from hunger and skipping meals has forced his brother to pass out, and Bai explains that he will trade Outer Sector spots for 200 spirit stones each. Bai then delivers a passionate speech on chasing goals and embarking on the path to immortality, and everyone starts leaking from their eyes. One of the guys understands that he will no longer require the spirit stones once he becomes immortal, and give Bai his life savings. Bai is ready to fulfill his dream, but the man in charge of the whole trial stops him and discloses that they are openly violating the trial regulations. When Bai asks what rule they broke, the guy cannot recall any. Bai then reminds him of all the rules one by one. Hours pass, and we see that Bai is still telling him the rules. And eventually, he reports all 386 rules to the supervisor. Bai proceeds with the purchase and accepts bids for the remaining 2 spaces, because they are not breaking any rules. He sells the first spot, and for the second spot, several individuals make enormous offers of up to 300 stones. But the little pink-haired girl from the Ohio family appears with 10 times the amount. Bai is surprised by her offer but politely accepts, and she is now officially the second Outer Sector disciple. Chen comes soon after, shocked to see what the heck is going on, but the supervisor assures him that they are not breaking any rules. He does mention that this is the first time this has happened and directs everyone to accompany him to the law enforcement hall. They all are ready to go with him since they are convinced they are not breaching any rules. Chen, on the other hand, is unhappy and throws Bai towards the gate in order to force him to become an Outer Sector disciple. Surprisingly, Bai wasn't pushed through the gate. Chen, on the other hand, is on the opposite side, and a flashback shows that Bai's walk automatically kicked the ass of Chen and threw him out of the gate. Chen attempts to return, but the person in charge informs him that all decisions are final. The mysterious girl who paid to pass through the barrier thanks Bai for the opportunity and introduces herself as Mei, and she also wants to suck his. Bai relieved on her face. I mean, Bai is relieved to be sticking with the fire kitchen, and the gang is astounded to see that they now have 200 spirit stones after selling their positions to join the outside sector. They all come up with different methods to spend the stones, but Bai claims that all he wants is a longevity pill. Just then, a superior force pulls up Bai and his friends one by one, and Zeng informs Bai that they will be forced to become outer sector disciples anyhow. Bai is then immediately summoned in front of Immortal Li, who tries to explain that there was an error. Li dismisses him and tells him that he must practice hard or he will be sent back to his ugly village. Following Li's departure, Bai is greeted by a guy named Yunfei. When Bai obtains new clothing, he is startled to see how nicely the outside sector disciples are treated. Yunfei reveals that he has never seen the Immortals so angry at someone before and admits that Bai must have broken the rules. Bai defends himself, but his casual mention of Li irritates Yunfei. Yunfei informs Bai that he is now an outer sector disciple and must follow proper etiquette. This is especially true because he is an apothecary apprentice, whatever the that is, which are individuals who primarily develop the medical route among the 4 major sectors. Chief Li is considered the best Nig chief, and Yunfei expects Bai to respect him as such. Bai is shocked and excited because he aspires to learn how to produce a longevity pill one day. Yunfei says that if Bai works hard enough, he will ultimately be able to afford a simple pill that extends one's life by 1 year. Bai is then led to the script pavilion. If you are wondering what the heck the script pavilion is, it is your mom's puss. It is a library, which is 12 times the size of the fire kitchen. He doesn't notice any books on refining elixirs, and Yunfei explains that trainees must first study flora and spiritual monsters in 10 volumes. After that, he must pass the 10 huge monuments exam in order to advance to the next level. Bai finds several scrolls up high, and Yunfei explains that these are sealed scrolls that have been sitting unused for a while. Seal pack reminds him of Mei. Just then, a guy enters looking for a certain scroll, but the others working there have forgotten where it is. Bai unexpectedly walks forward and helps the man to find the exact location. The man is happy at discovering, and this inspires others to seek Bai's assistance in locating scripts. Yunfei cannot believe what he sees. Despite just being there for a brief period, Bai was able to recall everything so precisely. Following that, Bai requests a script copy, and the old geezer looks blind because he is reading the scroll upside down, is taken aback to discover that Bai wants to understand the undying power of immortality. The old man argues that while the script is amazing, it is still extremely tough to train with. Bai will have to endure bone-piercing acute pain and fierce sensations of extreme hunger, but Bai is determined. The next day, Bai looks for herbs when he is caught by Chen, who seeks revenge. So, Bai runs and goes into a monument intended for someone taking their 10 big monument test. Bai is completely unaware, since he believes it is a decent hiding location, and is shocked when a voice informs him that the first exam tablet has been activated. Because of Chen's, Bai chooses to stay and complete the exam. He is then instructed to design a symbol to begin the exam. Outside, a crowd cheers as they wait for the girl to successfully pass her exam. Bai chooses a distinctive sign, and the exam begins. He is told that 10,000 plants will be disassembled into various pieces and that Bai has to rebuild them in their original state. The total number of correctly built plants will be calculated once he places them in his pot. Luckily, Bai has lately read about plants, and he easily reassembles them. Bai works hard, as the burning incense sticks indicate that he is out of time. Exhaustion begins to set in when he considers how little time he has left. Zoe emerges from another monument confidently, after counting the thousands of animal skeletons she has assembled. Everyone is so preoccupied looking at her milkers that no one notices Bai stepping out from his monument. Mei, on the other hand, notices him and explains that the symbol of the person with the highest exam result would be displayed above the monuments. Everyone expects to see Zoe's milkers, Zoe's symbol, a vase, because she has won first place in all 10 monuments. Bai recalls Yunfei explaining this as well. He said that Zoe had placed first in 9 of the 10 monuments, and she is the top currently. Also, she is currently challenging the 10th, and if she wins again, it will be a feat not witnessed in the sector in over 1,000 years. The symbol appears as someone describes how they didn't expect to hear the divine cauldron in their lifetime. According to legend, the divine cauldron produces a sound for the person who finishes first in all 10 monuments. Everyone is crying, and others are fainting, as they prepare to see history. However, as soon as the vase arrives, no sound is heard. Everyone is surprised to learn that the symbol on one monument is a turtle. Everyone is amazed, and Bai pretends to be someone else as he describes how the turtle was drawn in such a precise elegant, and in cute manner. Just thereafter, a guy named Jean approaches to congratulate Zoe, but she ignores his ugly face and returns to another monument. Jean believes she is scared of his ugly face and runs away just seeing him, but she is actually retaking the plant test. She finishes quickly, thinking about how thrilled she is that someone surpassed her previous score of 7,000 plants, but now she accurately assembled 8,000. She is astonished, though, when the small turtle reappears, and she can only wonder how many plants the winner assembled. Bai explains to Mei that it will take over 9,000 plants to defeat him and nearly reveals himself, but he uses his 2 brain cells and manages to keep it a secret. We learn after some time that Zoe attempted to defeat the small turtle 7 days in a row, but failed each time. People all across the world began to guess as to who it may be, assuming it must be some elderly wise guy with an abundance of knowledge, but Bai heard it all and considered waiting for the ideal moment, when an audience is assembled, to declare that the small turtle symbol is his. Jean interrupts his thoughts as he offers a prize to anybody who captures the small turtle owner, dead or alive. Jean knocks out anybody who supports the tiny turtle out, as he tells how he wrecked Zoe in the monument. As he told how he wrecked everything for Zoe, Mei defends the adorable turtle, but Bai rescues her from harm. Mei, on the other hand, quickly stops him and expresses her respect for the person behind the small turtle. She admires how he wrecked Zoe, defeated Zoe fairly, and wishes to see the small turtle finish first in all 10 monuments, winning the secret treasure in the process. But Bai thinks he is going to finish first on her face. Bai hears about the prize for the first time and agrees to join Mei in cheering for the small turtle. Later, Bai studies hard while reminding himself to keep a low profile. Mei arrives later with food and is amazed by the other scripts in Bai's room. When she compares him to the small turtle, Bai gets caught off guard, and she displays confidence in Bai's ability to master all 10 key consideration levels. Mei believes he can even reach the foundation establishment phase, and she surprises Bai once more when she discloses that doing so will drastically impact a person's lifespan. She goes on to add that there are 3 foundation establishments, one of which may enhance a person's lifetime by 100 years and another by even more. Bai understands everything, and they hold hands, and after holding hands they start. They start controlling their emotions. Bai recognizes that this may be a long-term objective and intends to pass all 10 monument tests in the meantime. If he can obtain the precious treasure, it will help him achieve his ultimate aim. Later, one of the sector's chiefs expresses his disgust, believing the young turtle is cheating because he has been passing landmarks at speeds quicker than Zoe. Lee assumes it's because of the treasure, and the other chief orders an inquiry to find out who the small turtle is. We subsequently discover that a war is brewing between factions, and that innocent people are being injured. People begin to question if the small turtle is battling for righteousness' sake. In just a few months, the turtle has topped 9 monuments, and all attempts to capture him have failed. Bai waits at the last monument one night and is surprised to find that law enforcement has left it alone. He enters cautiously, but once inside, we observe that a big crowd gathers outside waiting for him to come out, so they can gangbang him. Ugly friend Zone Jean swears that he will not let the small turtle escape this time. Zoe appears and explains that she is merely there to find out the size of Turtle's dick. She is merely there to find out who the turtle is. The small turtle symbol rises above the final monument just as everyone is amazed by the divine cauldron ringing. They are surprised to hear it after 1,000 years. Inside, a voice congratulates Bai on finishing first in all 10 monuments, and Bai is awarded the supreme treasure. As everyone prepares to strike, the monument opens up, but they are all distracted by an unusual turtle shell. The turtle shell is actually Bai's walk, and everyone goes after that. They can't believe a turtle can move so quickly, but they're eager to capture him.
Meanwhile,
However, Mei stops them, and a struggle breaks out between Bai's fellow sector members and law enforcement. However, Lee arrives just in time to break up the fight and tell everyone to off. Bai also departs but collapses. He then inspects his supreme gift, an immortality pill. However, he drops it and is now at the mercy of a wild chicken. Bai is shocked to see that the f***ing cock swallows the pill and fly away magnificently, just like the whole bird from Pokemon. After several months, Bai explains, people have stopped thinking of the small turtle as a wanted criminal and began to see him as an intriguing legend. Bai is currently cultivating bamboo as usual, and adds that he has reached the 4th key consideration level. Until now, he has made no progress toward becoming an immortal. Then we watch Bai train. He begins by refining his skin, manipulating the muscles and bones, relaxing and tightening everything multiple times. The training is extremely difficult, but Bai tells himself that he must endure. The next day, Bai awakens from his sleep to discover that he is extremely hungry. It's the hungriest he's ever been, and he hates the bird that ate his immortality pill for making him so hungry. Bai then promises to make all chickens pay, and we later witness him stealing chickens from a nearby farm with a fake insect. The next day, Zoe gathers the locals to notify them that the immortal chicks have been stolen. These are not regular chickens, they are spirit-tailed chickens, which are extremely useful in the production of medicine. She informs that the robber stole dozens of chickens in one night, though she states Lee is now engaged in training and is ignorant of the issue. As his disciple, she will handle the situation and offers his ass. Her protective necklace as a prize for capturing the spirit-tailed chicken thief. Bai sees that things are about to become worse for him and chooses to act quickly. Another man leaps ahead of him and suggests a method for capturing the culprit, but Bai interjects because he wants Zoe's trust and lays out all the problems in the man's proposal. Then Bai suggests that everyone get together to establish a thief-catching squad. He delivers a passionate speech on how anybody, young or old, man or woman, may help. Zoe is impressed, and she agrees with Bai, declaring that he will be the squad's commander and hands him a ribbon as a symbol of trust. Bai goes to another farm that night, thinking about how his new identity will make it much simpler for him to steal chickens. While he steals, Bai is surprised to hear Zoe's voice expressing her disappointment. Bai believes he has been caught and believes Lee will certainly expel him for stealing after kicking his ass. He is about to plead for mercy when he discovers that she is only lecturing the farmers for sleeping on the job. Bai is discovered shortly after though, and declares loudly that he stopped training in order to find the thief. He claims he was no match for the thief and suffered several inside injuries while fighting him. And if she wants to see those injuries, he can show him in his room.
What do you mean by that?
Bai accepts full responsibility as the squad commander for allowing the robber to go away, and Joe believes his claim. She explains how he was the only one who was watching his position with vigilance, and how he is the most deserving of her protecting necklace. Zoe suggests that Bai should rest instead of working so hard, since she wishes the sector had more disciples like him. After resting, Bai resumes his duties as the commander of the thief-catching team, as well as his stealing as the chicken thief. Bai buries extra chicken bones one night, regretting the fact that there are just a few chickens remaining on the chicken farm. He understands he has to grow his business and travels to other regions in search of new chicken farms. Bai also continues his rigorous training, but is caught off guard one night by a surprise attack in the woods. He avoids the strikes but realizes how out of shape he is since every movement forces him to gasp for air. Bai is ultimately attacked, but he rejoices because his skin has hardened to the same texture as a turtle shell. Lee ultimately reveals himself and shares his delight at how Bai obtained everlasting skin and then went on to create iron skin. Lee recognizes Bai must have gone through a lot of agony to achieve it, but he is skeptical about something. He mentions how, in addition to the discomfort, a person must endure acute hunger several times, yet Bai has gotten quite fat. Bai blames it on the bamboo he takes, but Lee knows that he's not taking any bamboo in his ass. It's the chicken cock. Bai claims that he has been wrongfully accused, but Lee is unfazed and unearths all of the chicken bones that Bai hid. Bai then shouts for aid, believing Lee is about to kill him, and Lee takes him away to some place. As punishment, he casts Fat Ugly Bai into the Valley of 10,000 Snakes. After a while, the tired Bai begs Lee to save him. He attempts to rationalize eating all those spirit-tailed chickens by saying how hungry he was. Bai vows to turn over a new leaf, but Lee questions if he can trust a crazy chicken thief. Lee then argues that their sector would face internal competition. Bai must finish in the top 5, or Lee would abandon him in the Valley of 10,000 Snakes for good. Bai is nervous, but his fear of snakes pushes him to cooperate. When Bai comes home, he reveals that he has spirit refined his sword 3 times, greatly enhancing its speed and power. He levels up his protection pendant as well, reaching the 6th level of ki condensation. He is aware that the future competition will be intense. Bai examines a scripture with a different technique that he feels others would not understand, and decides that mastering it will give him an advantage. The first concept he seeks to explore by lifting a water tank is lightness and weight. He fails badly, but more research indicates that he only needs to better regulate his spiritual force. Bai learns how to accomplish precisely that, but when he tries a technique called the throat lock, he discovers that his spiritual force is insufficient. Knowing this, he planned to sell bamboo in order to purchase elixirs that would increase the power of his spiritual force. Bai eventually returns to training and is able to raise the water tank, but he is unable to control it. However, he learns that if he does not finish in the top 5 during the tournament, he will be going to leave in the Valley of Snakes, implying that he will never be able to become immortal. Bai wakes up the following morning to find a hole in his ceiling, but he knows it wasn't done by a burglar because he doesn't possess anything valuable. He thinks, who could have a massive PP to penetrate the ceiling? He then recalls using the throat lock technique in his sleep and regains confidence in his abilities to beat everyone in the tournament. Then the day of the tournament arrives, and we find that the supervisor from Bai's earlier trial named Feng is also competing. Just thereafter, a girl named Fei appears, who is known to be incredibly powerful. Some predict she will win the challenge because of her 2 big cannons, while others feel Feng will, because he is also at the pinnacle of level 5 Ki condensation. The tournament is ready to begin, but Chief Li is nowhere to be seen. Bai is also pleased with himself for finally being able to purchase a longevity pill as well as other protection talismans to keep him alive during the competition. However, the immortal Li chastises him for being almost late for the tournament and takes him there. Bai is then placed in front of the other contestants, and he tells Li that he isn't prepared, but Fei helps him, and Bai, after seeing those cannons, decides that since he's already there, he may as well stay. As he goes to hold the hand of Fei, an ugly man breaks his hand. Feng keeps a tight eye on Bai, as he is amazed that he has advanced far enough to compete in less than a year. Bai is eager to go first, but is informed that everyone will draw numbers to determine who will fight each other in the competition's first round. Bai alters his mind since he is relieved to be fighting last, but he is advised to be prepared for his fight. The competition then begins, with players 1 and 2 going head to head. Everyone is amazed by the tremendous warriors, and the highly renowned Chin is swiftly declared the winner. Contestants 3 and 4 are up next, and Bai is taken aback by how vicious the battles are, prompting him to run and attach as many protection talismans as he can. Feng ultimately battles and amazes everyone by ending the fight with a single attack. Fei also shines in her fight, expertly dodging strikes and finally destroying her opponent with a smoke screen. Soon after, it's Bai's time, and we witness him attempting to flee. Li apprehends him, and Bai's explanation of needing to use the restroom falls flat when Li says he can wait for him. When Bai's opponent notices his walk, he explains that they are not in a cooking competition, but Bai replies that it is for defense. They are told to start fighting already. Despite Bai's plea for his opponent to go easy on him, his opponent shows no mercy. Bai is surprised to discover his opponent flat on the ground. A quick memory reveals that it was his walk that performed all the work, and Bai is declared the winner. The audience is shocked by Bai's victory, and is informed that he would be prohibited from using any utensils in future competitions. Everyone is amazed by the quantity of stuff Bai has brought, and he is criticized by everyone, but Feng knows not to underestimate him. The first round winners must now choose new numbers, and Bai learns he only needs to make it through the following round to finish in the top 5. He wants to battle one of the weaker opponents. As Feng is summoned next, everyone feels sorry for whoever has to face Feng, and his opponent is none other than our ugly fat lonely Bai. Bai is so terrified that he can't even confront Feng, but the audience wonders if Bai is planning a surprise strike. Bai takes advantage of this chance to show fake confidence, and it works as Feng becomes more cautious. Bai believes he won't be able to postpone the battle for much longer, but he imagines how badly a genuine fight will go for him. He predicts that a sneak attack will also fail and Feng will beat him like Hulk, and that all other options will result in his being brutally beaten. Feng quickly recognizes that Bai is acting and attacks him, but is surprised to discover that Bai wishes to beg for compassion. As Bai brazenly requests that Feng let him fight first, everyone mocks him for being a coward. Feng, overcome with shame, complies with his request. Bai plans his attack, but it quickly becomes evident that he is only wasting time. As he walks slowly, his arms and legs get numb. Everyone encourages Feng to strike immediately, but he refuses since he is a man of his word. It's been 4 hours, and Bai is still on his way to attack. The elder begins to appreciate his skill to postpone. Bai quickly drops his weapon. Feng considers Bai's attempt a failure and begins the fight. Bai's plea to restart the fight is denied, leaving Feng to wonder how many protective talismans Bai has attached to himself, as all of his attacks are deflected. According to the chiefs, Bai is making a mockery of the competition. Feng seizes the opportunity to finally strike Bai down just as he runs out of talisman, but he is protected by his protective pendant. Its defense is so strong that it damages Feng. Feng warns that no object can shield Bai from his next blow, and Bai wonders if Feng is going to give him a blowjob. Everyone is taken aback when they witness Feng using the blood spirit method, and Bai observes that Feng is wielding a blade that has been spirit refined twice. Bai, on the other hand, refuses to die and uses his own sword to stop Feng's strike. Everyone is stunned when Li notices that Bai's sword has been spirit refined 3 times, and they have never seen a blade shine with such brightness. Their disbelief intensifies as the strong Feng is flat on the ground, and Bai is declared the winner. Female chief, like everyone else, is shocked to see a blade that has been spirit refined 3 times, and thinks if his blade can penetrate her defenses. But she is more struck by Bai's application of the lightness and weight technique. Bai has managed to amaze everyone, but we can tell that he is only happy that he survived. Following that, further numbers are drawn, revealing that Fei would be battling Chen, leaving Bai with no one to fight until the final round. Chen believes that whoever wins this bout would go on to defeat Bai and determined that they should hurry and finish it. Fei knows he cannot last longer with him anyway. The fight is tough though, as the two display their mastery in their own fighting methods. Fei notices that Chen originally desired to finish the battle quickly but now appears to be holding back. She realizes that she is running low on spiritual energy and chooses to finish the fight quickly. Chen plans his final strike, which Fei successfully avoids. Chen's offensive attacks continue, but Fei outmaneuvers Chen and finally wins. She is declared the winner, and Chief Li marvels at her strength, but one chief says Bai is still the stronger of the two. Bai has already made it to the top 5 and has no incentive to fight any longer. He offers Fei his surrender. Fei points out that Bai only made it to the finals by using items, and she is now upset to learn that he intends to gift her the win. As their fight approaches, the sun sets, and Bai makes one final attempt to convince her to let him forfeit because she is so exhausted. She resists, stating that she only needs one attack to finish the fight. Fei launches her attack while Bai attempts to employ a throat lock, a technique he failed to learn before. Her strike, however, was more forceful than Fei imagined, as Bai informs her that his sword has penetrated his protecting necklace and punctured his chest. Bai is horrified. The Chief Li is shocked since they clearly witnessed Bai attempt to make a move and conclude he must have just missed. Bai expresses his sorrow in leaving the village to train for immortality, as he may have lived for a few more years. Bai's dying words disclose his hopes to reconnect with his late parents, and a mob rushes to his side. However, Bai suddenly awakens and explains that he was extra cautious and attached 2 more layers of leather to his outfit. Fei collapses shortly after, and the elder declares that she is no longer capable of fighting. He formally names Bai the overall winner, but the audience is upset by how the tournament concluded. Fei is also unhappy and insists that they fight again, but Bai advises her to consider her own health and agrees to let her win again. She, on the other hand, insists on a fair fight. He is hesitant to cooperate, but she offers her puss. But she offers a sword and first-grade soaring incense in exchange for his agreement. The ugly men who almost broke Bai's hand mention that she went through a great deal to obtain the incense, which strongly helps in reaching the 6th level of ki condensation. Bai is still scared to confront her, but she challenges him to a plant knowledge competition because they are both apothecary apprentices. Bai agrees, so Li uses one of his nuts to cultivate a spiritual plant made by merging together various sorts of spiritual plants. The one who identifies the most herbs wins. Bai lets Fei go first, and people are surprised by his confidence. They think Bai is a fool since Fei finished in the top 10 in 5 of the monuments, but they have no idea that Bai is the legendary little turtle that won all 10. Fei takes her time observing the plant, and then proclaims that she is the most learned of all the students, but Bai says it is small and soft. Fei thinks he is talking about his cannons. This makes him blush. But Bai is talking about his puss. But Bai is talking about the flower, this flower. Fei swiftly finishes and says that she recognized 8 plants. The elder is astounded to hear this, as Li adds that his created spiritual plant is nearly perfect and that it is incredibly difficult to tell apart all of the plants. Fei impresses everyone by accurately listing her 8 plants. Bai, on the other hand, boldly goes up when it is his turn, revealing that, in addition to Fei's 8, he has located an extra 67 spiritual plants. Faye mocks him for clearly trying to list all the plants he knows in the hopes that he would accurately predict them. However, this is not the case, as Bai shocks everyone with his highly detailed response. Bai not only names the plants but also the graphs utilized to construct them, which amazes the elder. Lee ultimately admits that Bai may have some talent, but the other old chief thinks that he is being too modest in his remark. Bai ultimately finishes naming all 75 plants, and Faye got clapped, and Bai is declared the winner of the entire tournament once more. After some time, Bai continues to train and is pleased to find that the soaring incense he received from Faye is effective, since he is growing quickly. Bai's former bully, Bao, comes to his house. Bai closed the door on his face and then welcomed him with a broom. Bao claims that he has come to apologize for attempting to murder him. Bao goes on to say that he was young and stupid at the time, but now sees the stupidity of his actions. He has only attained level 3 ki condensation and presents no threat to Bai. Furthermore, he has heard of Bai's great reputation and has come to thank Bai for humiliating him in doggy style in his last fight, so severely that he was inspired to improve quickly. Bao would want Bai to look out for him, but Bai is uninterested. Bao then discloses his connections and warns Bai to be wary of the individuals in the supervision department. Chen, the guy who drove Bai into the outside sector, has made Bai his target, and Chen's brother is Feng, a member of the Law Enforcement Hall. Bao agrees to be Bai's right-hand man since competition in the immortal cultivation world is fierce, and having just one more companion boosts one's chances of surviving significantly. The new buddies drink that night, and Bao is astounded when Bai tells him about his travels up to this point. Bao is positive that Bai will quickly reach the Foundation establishment realm, but Bai is doubtful. Bao points out that going to the Mortal Vein establishment world is simpler, and all that is required is to consume enough Foundation establishment pills. However, Bai had never heard of this before and was surprised when he learned that reaching this world would increase his lifespan by 100 years. Bai understands everything, and he is desperate to extend his life. However, Bao explains that they won't be able to buy the pills and would have to refine them themselves. However, for refining medicines, you have to become an apothecary journeyman, whatever the that is, and we saw Bai's reputation improve when he participated in the apothecary journeyman trial. He had been late and was the last one to start his furnace, yet he still managed to refine pills in all 10 furnaces. This was unique, and his last refinement resulted in a mid-grade level pill. Some days later, Bai discovers that because of his recent increase in reputation, a lot of people seeking his assistance have gathered in front of his house. I am curious to know what type of help she needs. Chen stands nearby, furious to have been made a fool by Bai, but his brother Feng urges him to relax because he has something prepared for him. Bai had just finished assisting everyone when Mei approached to compliment him on his excellent act. She wants to ensure that if Bai ever travels far away, he will often message her. I think this chick wants to ride his chicken. However, their talk is cut short by Bai's right-hand man, Bao, and Bai gets confused when Bao tells him to run while he still has the opportunity, since there is a chance he will be able to escape. He is wrong, as when they arrive outside, they are intercepted by law enforcement, who informs them that Bai must accompany them to the law enforcement hall. And that's it for this video. For next part, check the link in description or in pinned comment, and don't forget to like and subscribe.